If you want to be successful, then definitely think about this man. She failed her biggest dream, then became one of the world's most famous designers. Imagine spending your entire childhood chasing one dream, waking up before sunrise, training until your body ached, believing that one day the entire world would know your name. Now imagine, in a single moment, that dream disappears. Not because you gave up, but because life simply said no. Most people never recover from a moment like that. They settle, they stop dreaming, they convince themselves maybe success just wasn't meant for me. But one woman refused to believe that. She lost the dream she had chased since childhood, yet decades later she built an empire that millions of people admire today. Brides across the world dream of wearing her creations. Hollywood celebrities trust her vision. Luxury became her signature. But here's the unbelievable part. None of this happened when she was young. She didn't become famous at 20. She didn't become successful at 30. In fact, the career that made her a global icon didn't even begin until she was 40. This is the incredible story of Vera Wang. And before this story ends, you may never look at failure the same way again.
Long before luxury fashion, long before billion-dollar influence, before celebrities walked down red carpets wearing her designs, there was simply a little girl growing up in New York City. Vera Wang was born in 1949 to hard-working Chinese immigrant parents. Their parents believed in discipline. They believed that excellence was earned. Nothing in life would ever be handed to you. From a very young age, Vera discovered something she loved more than almost anything else: figure skating. While other children played after school, she practiced, hour after hour, day after day, year after year. She wasn't skating for fun. She was skating because she wanted to become one of the best in the world. Every jump, every spin, every fall brought her closer to one dream: competing in the Olympics. Imagine the pressure. Years of sacrifice, countless mornings before sunrise, missing birthday parties, missing vacations, living every day with one goal. She believed that if she worked hard enough, nothing could stop her. But life doesn't always reward effort the way we expect. Despite years of relentless training, Vera failed to qualify for the U.S. Olympic team. Just like that, the dream she had spent most of her life chasing was over. For many people, that moment would have become the end of their story. But for Vera Wang, it was only the beginning.
Losing the Olympic dream could have defined the rest of Vera Wang's life. She could have spent years asking, what if? What if I had trained harder? What if I had one more chance? What if life had been just a little kinder? But here's something extraordinary about successful people. They don't stay trapped in the past. They accept reality, and they search for the next opportunity. Vera didn't know it yet, but the end of one dream was quietly making room for a much bigger one. After leaving competitive figure skating behind, Vera faced a question that many people struggle with. Who am I if I can no longer do the one thing I've spent my whole life preparing for? It's a terrifying question, because when your identity is built around a single dream, losing that dream can feel like losing yourself. Instead of giving up, Vera decided to keep learning. She enrolled at Sarah Lawrence College, where she studied art and history. At first, nothing seemed extraordinary. No headlines, no awards, no overnight success. Just another young woman trying to figure out where she truly belonged. Sometimes life becomes strangely quiet before everything changes. Then, a new door opened. Vera discovered the world of fashion, not as a famous designer, not as a celebrity, simply as someone deeply fascinated by beauty, creativity, and craftsmanship. She wasn't trying to become famous. She was simply curious. And curiosity has a way of changing lives. In 1971, Vera joined Vogue magazine as an editor. She wasn't designing dresses. She wasn't walking fashion runways. She spent countless hours studying trends, learning fabrics, watching great designers work, understanding what made timeless fashion different from temporary trends. Most people underestimate seasons like this because from the outside, it doesn't look exciting. No one applauds the years of preparation. No one celebrates the quiet work happening behind the scenes. But those hidden years often become the strongest foundation for future success. Every magazine she edited, every designer she interviewed, every collection she analyzed was teaching her something priceless. She didn't realize it then, but life was preparing her for a career she hadn't even imagined. And the most incredible part? She was still years away from creating the name that would one day become one of the most respected luxury brands in the world.
Have you ever looked around and wondered why everyone else seems to be moving ahead while you're standing still? Vera Wang knew that feeling. She had already lost one dream. Now, she was spending her days helping tell other people's stories. She admired brilliant designers. She interviewed rising stars. She watched fashion legends build unforgettable careers. But every evening, she went home with one quiet question. When will my own story begin? For nearly 17 years, Vera worked at Vogue. 17 years. Think about that. Almost 2 decades of learning, observing, listening, growing. Many people would have become impatient. Some would have quit. Others would have convinced themselves, this is all my life will ever be. But Vera kept improving. She understood something that most people never do. Success isn't only built on talent, it's built on preparation. Every photo shoot, every fashion meeting, every conversation with world-class designers added another piece to the puzzle. She wasn't wasting time. She was quietly building knowledge that money couldn't buy. Eventually, her reputation for elegance and good taste became impossible to ignore. She accepted a new challenge. She left Vogue and joined Ralph Lauren as a design director. For the first time, she stepped closer to the creative side of fashion. It felt like progress. It felt exciting. But something still felt incomplete. Deep inside, Vera wasn't dreaming about working for someone else's brand. She wanted to create something of her own. Still, she had no idea what that would be. No business plan, no famous fashion label, no clear roadmap. Just experience, curiosity, and years of lessons that were quietly preparing her for the moment that would change everything. Then, life surprised her once again. At the age of 39, Vera became engaged. Like millions of brides, she wanted the perfect wedding dress, something elegant, something timeless, something that truly reflected who she was. So she began searching. Store after store, designer after designer. She expected to find the one. But instead, she found disappointment. The dresses were either too traditional, too ordinary, or simply didn't match the vision she had imagined for the most important day of her life. Most people would have settled. Most people would have said, good enough. But Vera Wang wasn't like most people. She looked at those dresses, and a single thought entered her mind. A thought so simple, yet so powerful, it would completely change the course of her life. What if I designed it myself? That one question would soon transform a 40-year-old woman with no fashion label into one of the most recognized names in luxury bridal fashion.
Sometimes, the opportunity you've been waiting for doesn't knock on your door. It appears as a problem, a disappointment, a moment when nothing seems to go your way. Most people complain, then move on. But a few people ask a different question. How can I make this better? That question changed Vera Wang's life forever. When Vera couldn't find the wedding dress she had imagined, she stopped thinking like a customer. She started thinking like a creator. Instead of accepting what already existed, she imagined what could exist. She sketched ideas. She studied fabrics. She carefully considered every detail. She wanted a dress that wasn't just beautiful. She wanted it to tell a story of confidence, a story of elegance, a story that every bride could feel the moment she wore it. In 1990, at the age of 40, when many people believe it's too late to start over, Vera Wang opened her very first bridal boutique in New York City. Think about that for a moment. No famous fashion brand, no billion-dollar company, no guarantee that anyone would buy her designs. Just one woman, one small boutique, and one enormous dream. It was a risk. Friends questioned her. Some people believed the bridal market was already too crowded. Others wondered why a former magazine editor thought she could compete with established designers. The doubts were everywhere. But Vera had learned something from every chapter of her life. Figure skating had taught her discipline. Vogue had taught her taste. Ralph Lauren had taught her craftsmanship. None of those years had been wasted. They were preparing her for this exact moment. Slowly, the first brides walked into her boutique. They noticed something different. These weren't ordinary wedding dresses. They were modern, sophisticated, elegant, and deeply personal. Word began to spread. One satisfied bride told another, then another, then another. Without realizing it, Vera Wang had started building something far greater than a business. She was creating a brand that represented dreams. And soon, some of the biggest names in Hollywood would come looking for the woman who started over at 40.
Success rarely arrives all at once. It whispers before it roars. One customer becomes 10, 10 become 100, and one day the entire world starts paying attention. That was exactly what happened to Vera Wang. She didn't become a global icon overnight. She earned it one design, one client, one masterpiece at a time. As more brides wore Vera Wang's creations, people noticed something extraordinary. Her dresses weren't just made to be worn, they were made to be remembered. Every piece reflected elegance, confidence, and timeless beauty. Soon, fashion magazines began talking about her. Stylists recommended her. Luxury clients searched for her name. Then came the moment every entrepreneur dreams about. Celebrities started calling. One after another, some of the biggest names in entertainment chose Vera Wang to design for the most important day of their lives. Each famous client brought more attention. Each wedding introduced her work to millions of people. But Vera refused to let success change her mindset. She never believed she had made it. Instead, she kept asking, how can I make the next design even better? That's one of the biggest differences between successful people and everyone else. Most people stop learning after they become successful. The truly great ones never stop improving. Vera personally reviewed designs. She obsessed over tiny details, a single stitch, a fold in the fabric, the balance of every silhouette.
Things most people would never notice, she noticed immediately. Because excellence lives in the details. Years passed, and the Vera Wang name became more than a bridal brand. It became a symbol of luxury itself. She expanded into evening gowns, jewelry, perfume, eyewear, home collections, even lifestyle products. The little boutique she opened at 40 had grown into an internationally recognized fashion empire. But here's what makes her journey so inspiring. People looked at her success and assumed she was simply gifted. They saw the glamorous dresses, the celebrity weddings, the magazine covers. They saw the victory. What they didn't see were the decades of preparation, the Olympic dream that ended in heartbreak, the years spent quietly learning at Vogue, the experience gained at Ralph Lauren, the countless failures, disappointments, and moments of uncertainty. Those invisible years were the true foundation of everything she built. And soon, life would teach one final lesson, a lesson that proves success has nothing to do with age and everything to do with the courage to begin.
There is a dangerous lie that millions of people believe. It says, if I haven't succeeded by now, it's probably too late. Too late to start. Too late to change. Too late to build something meaningful. Vera Wang became living proof that this belief is completely wrong. Because while many people were slowing down at 40, she was just getting started. As the years passed, Vera Wang's influence continued to grow. Her wedding gowns appeared in magazines around the world. Fashion critics praised her unique vision. Brides traveled from different countries just for the chance to wear one of her designs. Soon, the world's biggest celebrities trusted her creativity. Actors, singers, athletes, business leaders. When they wanted elegance, they wanted Vera Wang. But what made her truly different wasn't fame, it wasn't wealth, and it certainly wasn't luck. It was her mindset. Even after becoming one of the most respected designers in the world, she still approached every project like a student. She listened, she learned, she experimented. She never believed success gave her permission to stop growing. That's why her brand survived, while so many others disappeared. Because trends come and go, but people who continue learning continue winning. Then something remarkable happened. Young designers started looking up to Vera Wang, not just because of her beautiful creations, but because of her incredible journey. She had shown the world that your first dream doesn't have to be your final destination. Sometimes life closes one door only because a much greater one is waiting. Imagine if Vera had allowed the Olympic disappointment to define her forever. Imagine if she had spent the rest of her life saying, "I missed my chance." The world would have never known her name. Millions of brides would have never experienced her artistry. One decision, to begin again, changed everything. And maybe that's the lesson someone watching this video needs to hear today. Your greatest opportunity may not be behind you. It may be waiting on the other side of the failure you're facing right now.
Every successful person eventually discovers one truth. Life doesn't reward you for how early you start. It rewards you for refusing to quit. Vera Wang's story isn't really about fashion. It isn't about expensive dresses, celebrity weddings, or luxury brands. It's about something far more valuable. It's about having the courage to begin again. Today, millions of people know the name Vera Wang. Her creations have appeared at some of the world's most unforgettable weddings.
Her brand has expanded far beyond bridal fashion. Perfumes, jewelry, home collections, luxury fashion, and a global business recognized across continents. But if you asked Vera Wang what made all of this possible, the answer would probably not be talent alone. It would be perseverance. Because success didn't arrive when she was 20. It didn't arrive when she was 30. It arrived after years of disappointment, preparation, learning, and the courage to take one final risk at 40. That's why her story continues to inspire millions of people around the world, not because she designed beautiful dresses, but because she proved something beautiful about life itself. That failure isn't the opposite of success. Sometimes failure is simply the road that leads you there. Maybe today you're watching other people succeed while you're wondering if you've fallen behind. Maybe your dream didn't work out. Maybe someone told you you're too old. Maybe you've convinced yourself, my opportunity has already passed. If that's what you're thinking, remember Vera Wang. The little girl who dreamed of Olympic gold never won an Olympic medal. The young woman who spent years working behind the scenes wasn't famous. The 40-year-old woman who opened one small bridal boutique had no guarantee anyone would walk through the door. Yet she kept moving forward, one step, one lesson, one opportunity at a time. And eventually, the world caught up with her determination. So here's a question for you. What dream have you buried simply because you believe it's too late? What business, what book, what YouTube channel, what skill, what opportunity are you waiting to start? Because the truth is, the perfect time may never come, but your next step can begin today. Years from now, you won't regret the risks you took. You'll regret the chances you never gave yourself. Remember this, Colonel Sanders was in his 60s when his biggest success arrived. Ray Kroc built an empire later than most people imagine. Vera Wang changed her life at 40. Different people, different paths, one powerful lesson. Success doesn't have an expiration date.
If Vera Wang's journey reminded you that it's never too late to rewrite your story, take one small step today, because one decision can change the next 10 years of your life. And if you believe more people deserve to hear stories like this, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and join us for more inspiring stories of people who proved that age, failure, and setbacks don't define your future. Your greatest chapter may still be waiting to be written. We'll see you in the next story.